All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. We're gonna check its local and city searches and see if they got BSS for any of them. We're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city, utilizing our North Star as always FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that. Check the pinned post, home video, wherever you're at. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. And if someone's bringing in, their boudoir photography business is rising, they're probably bringing in peeps from the left side, the highest intent, all the way to the right side, the lowest intent. Peeps all coming in, or at least becoming aware of their business. And if a boudoir photography business is falling, more than likely some chunk here along this intent spectrum is missing. We're missing out on those people. So way over on the left, we got the highest intent people. That's what we're talking about here with these videos, talking about BSS. These are people, social search on social media, and Google search for like boudoir photographers in their city or boudoir photo shoots in their city. And highest intent people, closest to the money, highest conversion. And over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps, and it's actually going to be the highest volume of people. And we're talking about those on our sister brand called Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We're talking about BLCS, kind of a niche problem there. And currently we're only working with boudoir photographers over there, running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. All right, on to BSS, boudoir search sameness. So this one, a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots on page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper. We're dead. At that point, we're dead because we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never make it to page 2. So people searching never even click to go to page 2. They are page 1 searches only, page 1 searchers only. As a result, this is who we gotta get in front of. This is who we care about. We don't care about the 20%. They're going 10 pages deep. Don't care. We care about the 80%, the bulk of the market. So 0 slots, no bueno. 1 slot, also no bueno, because there's 10 organic slots on page 1. If there's 9 other boudoir photographers, it's basically 1 slot for each. And guess what? A buyer, everyone looks the same. Buyer just gonna be clicking down through, and basically price shopping everyone, price comparing everyone, driving the price into the ground. So we're not even seen as anything special. We got 1 slot on page 1. Buyers don't see much of a difference between us and the other peeps. So it's literally like we got BSS, we got a problem. And that's because 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Common, yes. Accepted, yes. Not normal, no. It is not normal to have so few number of page 1 links on Google. It's accepted, but it's not normal. This is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are 1, market saturation, and 2, the false belief of page 1 equality. Basically, everyone knows what market saturation is. Seems like every week someone's getting a new iPhone, throwing out their Google My Business profile, throwing out their website saying they now do boudoir photo shoots, competing with us for page 1, ranking on page 1. And then, or someone getting a new camera and then they're posting them on Facebook groups that they now do boudoir photo shoots as well. So that's market saturation. Also, big market saturation happened during COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs, couldn't work, couldn't earn money, but still need to earn money. And guess what? Everyone's got a smartphone with a great camera on it. So very easy for tons of boudoir photographers to enter the market, which means an increase in supply, increase in sellers. For the same number of buyers, demand remains the same. And guess what? We are making it harder for every buyer or every seller to get buyers if there's more sellers than the same number of buyers. And the biggest thing, though, here's number 2, the false belief of page 1 equality. So this false belief, page 1 equality, is when people incorrectly believe that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1, and when they basically when they a new boudoir photographer comes in, maybe they're on page 1, originally they're on page 1, a new boudoir photographer gets ranked above, then they get kicked off to page 2, and they're thinking, oh, that's simply how it is. Hopefully that person deletes their website. Maybe Google will put me back on page 1. So it's basically this acceptance that there's not really much that can be done. No, incorrect, false. I know this for a fact. Google will actually give as many page 1 slots to any boudoir photographer who wants them, who wants to put in the work to acquire them, without paying for Google ads. And I know that because I actually went from 0 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google to 9 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google in 10 days using this new methodology that I invented. So false belief page one inequality. The first thing is to realize it's false, and we actually can take as many page one slots on Google as we want, which kind of like punches through kind of this brain box we were in. It allows us to see outside. Oh, and outside we do have one solution finally coming up in 2 pictures. But right now, we know that boudoir photographer BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So yeah, if we got 0 slots on page one, we're disappearing because approximately 80% of the marketplace that searches on Google ain't never finding us on page 2 or deeper. Also, for page one slot on Google Organic, we're basically looking the same as everyone else. It's gonna be price shopped with like 9 other boudoir photographers, driving margins down, and just really screwing everything up for us. So disappearing boudoir photographer, this one they have BSS, and that's because it's the canary in the coal mine. This is the first sign, kind of the first flag that eventually the boudoir photography business will be disappearing down the line as well. But luckily, we now have the solution. So we know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology, and we know this because we invented it and we've already used it for ourselves. Now, S-cubed methodology, that's exactly what it said. It's exactly its name, social search saturation. We're going to saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, buyer keywords. So we pop up there. So buyer search there, find us first. It's kind of like the backside, the small streams, the small rivers of the backside of the Andes Mountains in South America. And these all flow into the large Amazon River. The large Amazon River is Google page one. So if we successfully social search saturate, then we'll be rewarded with as many slots on page one of Google as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And as a result, we actually, this is actually the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that's able to stave off and actually allow boudoir photography business to continue to grow without, even in the face of market saturation, even in the face of massive market saturation. Now, the only other thing that could do this is brand, but that takes like 5 to 10 years to, assemble. We ain't got that time anymore. AI is coming to take people's jobs. We literally got to get maximum distribution, kind of a maximum digital land grab now, ASAP. And so, for S-cubed methodology, outcompeting market saturation, allowing us to continue to grow even in the face of it. Let's say we're in Chicago. There's a million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got a website saying they're a boudoir photographer, all trying to rank page one on Google, and we are saying, okay, the only way for us to successfully compete is we got to crank S-cubed methodology to the max. That's exactly what we do. We saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, and we take like the first 300 slots across all social networks for, let's say for those highest intent keywords. Now, let's also say this now flows onto Google, the Amazon River, and we're taking up the first 300 organic slots, Google organic search for those keywords as well. And every page on Google is 10 organic slots. So we're basically working on, taking over 30 first 30 pages of Google. So essentially for anyone to find our competitors, they literally got to scroll 300 places on social search or Google search. They got to go to page 31 on Google search. And dude, if approximately 20% of peeps are going to a Google page 2, basically ain't no one going to Google page 31. And so whenever a buyer searches their high intent buyer keywords, then what happens is we show up everywhere, and basically kicked all of our competitors out of the building. So even though there's a million boudoir photographers in Chicago, whose business is growing? Ours, because we cranked S-cubed methodology to the max, took over all the search real estate, social search, Google search, for the first 300 slots. And like our business growing, everyone else disappeared. They're disappearing. They can't successfully compete with us. And so again, this is why I said this and this happens a lot faster than brand. That's why I said it's the only thing I've seen that can successfully outcompete market saturation and continue to grow boudoir photography business. That doesn't require ads, because ads, their momentum goes to zero once you stop spending. S-cubed methodology has a momentum to it. It's not infinity momentum. but it's way more momentum than zero momentum once you stop spending on it. Now, once you're with SQ methodology, we have page one visibility, a bonus kind of an initial benefit. Get more slots on Google. We're also kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one of Google, effectively making them invisible. They're relegated to page two or deeper, and we already know approximately 80% of boudoir or of Google searches never even reach page two. They're page one searchers only. So we're kicking them 4 out of the 5 buyers. They ain't even gonna see them. So that's an initial benefit. In addition to us getting more slots, we're getting price shopped against way less people because 4 out of 5 boudoir searchers ain't going to page two anyway. Approximately 4 out of 5. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. This is where we actually want to, this is where our GBC recommended, you know, we want to hit, GBC recommends a minimum of 3 out of 10 Google page one slots. So 3 out of 10. And as a result, we feel like that's where we can comfortably say, all right, well, most likely at least treading water here, maintaining, most likely not disappearing. And the highest probability is we're actually growing the business once we're getting 3 out of 10. And 3 out of 10, if everyone else is one slot, man, a boudoir buyer seeing us with 3, they're gonna be like, why does Google keep recommending this person over and over and over again? They may only click us and not even click any of our competitors on that search. And then there's always a tiny, tiny, tiny chance someone will have 2 slots. So if we get to 3 out of 10 slots, we're good. It's basically like, if we get 3 out of 10, we're basically dominating 99.9% of all cases. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So it's our full universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and the false belief of page one equality, previously unknown false belief, page one equality. But finally, thankfully, we have a solution. Thank the universe. We got SQ methodology now. We achieve page one visibility, and we become visible boudoir photographers with boudoir search visibility. So it's our micro universe here. Now we're going to check out my results using SQ methodology. So I wanted to rank for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So I went and I used SQ methodology, social search saturation, and see organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I did this in 10 days, went from 0 out of 10 slots Google page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots Google page 1. And this was purely using our S-cubed methodology. All right, now main event here, we're going to check this boudoir photography business. We're going to check out its local search and its city search. See if they got BSS for either local or their city search, and also see if they're hitting the GBC recommended minimums, 3 out of 10 slots for each. So we're going to Hampton, Virginia, and Newport News, Virginia. All right, let's head over there now. Hampton, Virginia, it's no data. All right, so let's see what we got. Go to organic. So boom, we got one. Let's see what else. Let's see. All right, so we got one. So we got 1 out of 10 for local. Yeah. All right, so 1 out of 10 for local. And now let's check city. Let's see. And 1 out of 10 for city. All right, so for both. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 for both. And so that means we got BSS for both of them. And we're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum. 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search for either of them. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, so you've done the, you've done your local search, you've done your city search for the highest intent keywords that a boudoir buyer would be searching, and you either have BSS for one of them, or for one of them, or both, you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google, and you understand the false belief of page 1 equality, and you're like, oh yeah, that actually makes sense. We can actually take as many slots as we want, because Google will give them to us if we put in the work. And so you're seeing that SQ methodology is literally exactly what you've been waiting for. And you're like, yes, this is the perfect solution for me. So I got to use this thing. And you understand the market saturation. The 2 prongs, people get new iPhones, people get new cameras, kind of the gear saturating the market. But when you actually look at the outcomes of SQ methodology, you're saying, okay, first page, yeah, more kind of the initial benefits, more page one slots, and secondarily, kicking more competitors out of page one slots and off to page two, effectively making them invisible. So you're liking those initial benefits, and you're looking ahead from kind of at this market saturation thing, and you're seeing AI is taking more and more people's jobs. You're like, uh-oh, there's kind of going to be a much higher increasing number of boudoir photographers entering the marketplace, and over and over time as AI takes more people's jobs. That's on top and above kind of the standard new gear people entering the marketplace. So you're seeing, man, you decide you're going to fortify your slot on page one. Literally have so many slots on page one that you actually have like backup links in waiting that Google wants to rank on page one but can't because we've taken so many slots that literally kind of the new peeps that come into the market will never even be able to rank on page one on Google. So it's kind of like you're saying that you also want to use SQ methodology, which it's perfect for, to kind of fortify those levees. Like down in Nolens, Louisiana, they got the levees to keep the ocean out. You want to set up your boudoir page one domination levees. So you're seeing SQ methodology is perfect for that, and you want to achieve page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility because you know you need those things in order to become the number one boudoir photographer in your city. And you're also liking the future kind of future benefits of successfully executing SQ methodology every single day, which is every single day we execute it correctly. We are actually we're creating these invisible thematic keyword columns around our brand, like attached to our brand, kind of like columns like the Parthenon in Greece, or spokes going to the middle of the hub of the bike tire. And these things are basically AI mindshare. So every day we're building that up, building it up, an increase in probability. We're showing up here the AI overview, the most premium placement right now, showing only one slot, the primary slot. I mean, this is going to help get buyers, obviously. And the secondarily, kind of the other longer term benefit is every day we do this correctly, we're increasing the probability that standard AI search and all these different AI search apps recommend us as well. ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search. And, Google's still approximately 80% of all search, but I haven't done standard Google search probably like a year. I've always been using the AI overview button. It's basically like summarize it for me. I don't want to read nothing. And so you're seeing that. You're seeing people use AI. So it's literally more and more and more every single day. And so you need to be increasing the probability you're showing up on AI search. And dude, last time I searched for boudoir photographer with AI search, I literally brought up 3 of them. But then I actually went like through Google and all these different searches to find how manually how many are out there in the city. And there's approximately like 60. So dude, we gotta get on these top 3 slots. And again, what's the best solution out there that helps with that? SQ's methodology. It helps give all these benefits. And you're also seeing that you've decided that you're going to be the first mover in your city on using SQ methodology, because my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city and lock everyone else out. So you're saying you can get all these initial benefits, get all these future benefits, and lock out all your competitors from using this strategy and build up kind of those invisible thematic keyword column momentum, like backend AI mindshare, while your competitors have no idea what's going on. And we're able to put so much distance between you and your current competitors, and definitely any future competitors, that makes it a no-brainer. And conversely, if one of your competitors was to come with me first, and I would lock you out, then you're also seeing you would actually have to rederive SQ's methodology all on your own. You have no idea if you had derived it or rederived it correctly or not. And then you'd have to successfully equal our execution every single day. But if you did that, you would simply maintain the gap that me and your competitor would have already gotten ahead of you with. And so to kind of close the gap, you'd actually have to out execute us by like 2 or 3x every single day and begin pulling those, invisible thematic keyword columns, momentum, mindshare, AI mindshare we had already been achieving away from us and towards yourself. And you still would not even have 100% confidence you've derived SQ methodology correctly in the first place. And so doing all that, like, dude, who's got 60 to 80 hours in a day to do all that stuff? So you decide to screw that. You're going to be the first mover in this. You don't want to deal with a competitor getting it. So if that's you, shoot me a DM. And I'll shoot me a DM when the hospital is open for new patient intake. Hospital is currently closed for new patient intake. So you cannot DM me even if you wanted to. And no, you cannot work with me right now, even if you wanted to. But when I do open the Hustle for new patient intake, shoot me a DM, and we'll see if you qualify for using our executed methodology.